What I'm showing you is from Casual Bachelor's page, and it's uh, it's pretty striking contrast of pictures, and it really uh, it provoked me to think or to reflect because I didn't really take this whole fat promotion, fat acceptance propaganda thing all that seriously until recently. It took a while. I there were people who were banging on about it back in 2014, 2015 or so, and I just thought that they were fools to just go on and on about this because I just didn't think there was any way that they would really push it as far as they have. I thought back then that it's beauty will still win. Beauty always wins. People know what the people are always going to prefer this to this. And I mean, it's I still think that's true, but I didn't know how much of a push, how much hundreds of millions or billions of dollars would be pushed into the psyop to promote this. And it's been much more recently that it's dawned on me just how pernicious this entire quote unquote fat acceptance movement is. Now, I'm old enough to remember, I don't remember the specific ad, of course. I'm not a Calvin Klein aficionado, but that's Marky Mark, and I don't know who the girl is. She's hot as hell. They're both hot as hell, of course, and very white, of course, which we would say today. Ooh, white privilege, or white supremacy. It's so white, too white. Nobody was saying that back in 1992. Again, that goes along with my whole spiel about how after the Cold War ended, the elites turned on the people, and since then, since 1990 or so, or thereabouts, around about this time, we've had this for the last 30 years, this mounting hostility from the elites towards the populations, the native populations of the West, towards their own citizenry. But that's related, but that's a different, different part of the same overall evil op that this represents. So, yeah, mea culpa, because I didn't think that this was going to get pushed so hard and so that they would just shove it in our faces to this extent. I really thought back in 2014 and 2015 or so, when the Return of Kings .com site, I don't think they're still around, but this quote unquote red pill, I don't know, kind of semi PUA site that I would read sometimes, and I would just think, God, these guys are they're really going overboard, saying, oh, all these fat chicks out there, and thinking they're beautiful, what a bunch of pigs and stuff. And it just sort of struck me as mean spirited, and I still think, of course, I don't think you should walk up to somebody who's overweight and make fun of them, and I don't think that fat people should just be dismissed because they're fat, or should be objects of ridicule or anything at all like that. But obesity is not healthy. Um, and yet they're wanting to promote it now. Like they've gone far beyond where I thought they would go. And so I haven't been terribly prescient in that regard. But you know what does strike me as prescient is the movie WALL-E. This was a movie that came out sometime in the late aughts, I believe, and it was a cartoon. I think it was Pixar made, and the main character is this adorable robot who's living on this junked up Earth, where there's just pollution strewn everywhere. That the Earth has been ruined, and eventually he gets zapped up to this spaceship, which where humanity. I guess I don't. I should see the movie again, but from what I recall, it's where humanity has where humanity now lives. They live on this spaceship, and they're going to some new planet that hasn't been ruined, I think. But there's such an epidemic of obesity on the ship, and it's played for laughs, but it's also making a point that it would be very dicey if this movie were made today. It would be very controversial. People would be protesting it, and it would be getting hated on, by all the sort of people who are funding this whole campaign. So in WALL-E, as I recall, these people are just scooting around everywhere, drinking from drinking some sugary confection from a big gulp cup, and they're not handicapped, but they still just ride around on wheelchairs everywhere because they don't want to exercise at all. And again, they're just a bunch. They're slothful. They're indulgent, and it was sort of making this point about how the same. As I'm recalling this years later, but the same human race that made a mess of the earth because of their compulsion to want to indulge and just feed their faces and not show any kind of self-control or restraint. Now they're up just in this pathetic state, but totally totally unaware of how degraded they have made themselves. It seems like now that WALL-E was extremely, extremely prescient. I mean, I honestly didn't think that Victoria's Secret, if you looked at my short from the other day, I think that's still back on my main channel before I got spanked by YouTube again, and forced to go to my alt channel for 2 weeks. But on my main channel, there's a short where I'm commenting just on the Victoria's Secret poster, which shows this BBW, as they call them now. This big, quote, big beautiful woman, and of course they're most often black, or quite often black. That seems to be the template. Like, this is beauty, a 350-pound black, obese black woman. You've got this whole Lizzo thing. You've got to find her gorgeous. Isn't she gorgeous? She's 380 pounds. uh, and look at all the folds of fat all over her body. If you don't find her attractive, then that's just because you're insecure and a bigot, and you and a racist, um, and every other bad thing. No, so I admit this is kind of rambling, but I felt the need, and again, Casual Bachelor, uh, MGTOW channel. He's pretty good. He has uh, uh, some interesting things to say, and but this whole setup here, these two pictures showing how a lot has happened in 30 years. And way back when, because I grew up, partly because I grew up hating these kinds of ads. I hated like this, Marky Mark looking all arrogant there, because knowing how gorgeous he is, and of course the girls all like him and blah blah blah. And, I was full. I was a nerdy kid, full of resentment. And so maybe there was a bit of that whole maybe I was in a way, part of, in my way, a part of this unwitting mob that helped create the fat acceptance movement. Even though I never thought it would come to this. I never thought that major brands like Victoria's Secret, Calvin Klein, and so forth would be actually actively promoting, seriously promoting fatness, and making it so that you can't say that you have a preference for non-fat people, and that Weight Watchers would have to change their name to WW, as I think has happened. Like they want to de-emphasize the weight loss thing. Like everybody's got their own weight that they're it's not like we all don't have to be thin. Well, I mean, but we shouldn't be obese. Fine. If your point is we don't all have to look like this, well, most of us can't look like that. We'd like to, but we can't. And we should be at peace with who we are and what we look like, and we shouldn't beat ourselves up for not being gorgeous necessarily. But we were all created in the image and likeness of God, and we should strive to steward our bodies in a manner that is responsible and take pride in our appearance, to a degree. I say that as Mr. Slovenly, Mr. Slovenly guy, of course. But there's something just so evil about this. And I say this again without mocking these people, without mocking, people who are overweight, without mocking people who are obese, without any kind of ill will or mean-spiritedness towards the fat, towards the. But if anything shows just this demonic assault against this like effort to demoralize and to degrade and to just make everything depressing and to just strip the world of beauty. I mean, if anything encapsulates it, it's this montage. Again, you don't have to like these people. You don't have to worship these people. You can say, worshiping the beautiful is worshiping beauty is getting out of hand, and we all aren't fashion models and matinee idols and so forth, without actively promoting this. My God. I mean, and again, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, for not having seen that it was going in this direction. With all the major corporations on board, with all the billionaires, with perhaps the exception of Elon Musk, uh, all of them just monolithically promoting this. It's so evil. It's so wretched. It's so awful. The way the way that the things that they have done, and we need to fight them with all of our hearts, all of the strength that we can muster. Thanks for watching.